What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
It's recording. It's the Stanley Cup is really setting.
Here, I'll add my cup in. There we go. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
Welcome to a very special episode of the Underground Circuit podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming at you, not live, but
Basically.
fresh off of IndyCar weekend.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, we are recording together because we are still in our Airbnb. And we decided that we wanted to, try out some in-person recording because we're hoping to do that more this coming year. But we also wanted to get our pure, thoughts to what IndyCar weekend was and the experiences that we had with it being Casey's second time, it being my first time.
And our first time as credentialed media people.
Yes.
For a legit motorsport race.
Yes, like a legit, not like a small race at like our local speedway.
Yeah.
Or anything, like a legit IndyCar major racing series. So yeah, we wanted to try it out. So we're bringing this episode to you from Florida,
St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. So we're gonna go over our day. Well, not our day, our weekend. We're gonna go day by day, is what I was trying to say. And we're just gonna talk about the experiences that we had, and this episode is pretty much just gonna be IndyCar focused.
Yeah, we said next week we'll do our, obviously, Australia predictions, because next week is F1 race week.
It's race week.
And then also we'll do our 2025 season predictions. But this one, we just wanted to do one full episode about IndyCar, our experience,
Yeah.
but also kind of a race recap for IndyCar for this race today. So
just, jumping right into it. Our weekend started on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We had the very lucky opportunity that we flew down with Tasia, our good friend Tasia. If I'm blanking on her.
No, now it's just her name.
Tasia Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
We flew down with her. So we trained up to her Wednesday night, slept over, flew down Thursday morning.
Thursday was the longest day of the entire.
Yeah, Thursday was a very long day, but we got here. We got to our Airbnb. We got settled.
No, we didn't. We got here.
No, we did not.
We got here. We got changed. We went over to the track. We were able to pick up our credentials.
Yeah.
We were able to walk all around the track, all around the paddock, the pit lane before anyone else. I mean, really, the teams were there setting up, but obviously
there was no fans, no nothing.
No one else was inside the track, so that was very, very nice. Got to kind of get obviously myself and Tasia, have been there. We're last year, so the lay of the land is exactly the same. Nothing has changed, but Owen was able to get a lay of the land before it was super, super crowded.
Which was great.
Yeah. So we got to see everything. We see the media center where we would just everything going on for the weekend. And then once we left there, we tried coming back to the Airbnb, but we weren't able to because of traffic.
Yes, we were unaware of the bridge traffic down here. So we ended up just going back to Tasia's hotel with her. We hung out, and then that's where we got changed and ready to go for the Arrow McLaren livery launch, which the whole time we were there, we pretty much were just like, why the fuck are we here?
No, it was... So the Arrow McLaren livery launch, I know I posted on social media that a lot of people saw it. It was all the way down on the St. Pete Pier at this restaurant that I kept saying looks like a...
It looked like a treehouse.
It was
really
the only
looked
thing
like
at
a
the very
treehouse.
end of the pier. The water was perfect. The sun was setting. The weather was beautiful. As we were going over, they had 3 road cards. Two.
They had two McLaren road cars there.
Yeah.
Like, one was a P1. The other one was a 750S, which I think may be just a variation of the P1. I'm not 100% sure.
But in iconic papaya colors.
It looks so good.
Just sitting out there, and the one didn't the doors open for the one straight up?
Yes, the one had the doors open. There was somebody like sitting in it.
Yeah.
When we first walked up, and I got really excited because I was like, "Oh, if I can sit in this thing, jumping in it immediately." And then I think they were only doing that because they were friends with somebody on our McLaren. So it was definitely very exciting to see that walking up. And then as we walked up, it was sunset. The weather was beautiful. And we could see everybody, all the Arrow McLaren team members out on the pier, just like hanging out. So we go walking in and
we saw the 3 cars were sitting on like the little hill of grass.
Yeah, it was a little
But they were
hillside.
covered. They had like black tarps over each single one. But they did have a plaque in front of each car, so you knew which one was Christian Lundgaard's, you knew which one was Nolan's, you knew which one was Pato's.
Yeah.
And at first, I would be honest, when we first woke up, I did not see the drivers. I was like, oh, maybe they're coming out, like when the cars are coming out.
Yeah.
But no, they were in there. They were in their race suits. Like Owen said, there was a ton of team members there, and then some other people that got invited, and we had the privilege of being invited. And then they started with speeches. New team principal for our McLaren, Tony Kanaan, did a very nice speech.
Yeah.
The CMO of McLaren Racing herself was there, and she was really nice to hear from. I'm blanking on her name. I need to look it up.
So am I. She was the chief marketing officer. She had flown over from the UK as well, so that was cool. That was nice to see.
Louise McEwen was her name. Yeah, she said the weather was much better than what she had to deal with at the F175 launch last weekend. She said this one was much more okay than F175. But
so we did that, and then we hung out for a little bit. We met with some people. We talked. We hung out.
You're missing the best part when they revealed the cars.
That's what I'm getting to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. We might be a little delirious.
We're a little tired. But they eventually, you noticed, the drivers started lining up and everything, and that's when Tony started making his speeches, and they pulled back the covers on the cars, and by God, they were gorgeous.
Yeah.
We both love Christian Lundgaard's the best. It is like pure orange, like papaya orange, with like small highlights of black, like secondary colors of black, and it's like where their sponsors are, the name, the number, and everything on the car was black, and it just looked really well done.
And I also think Nolan has the orange, and they always have one that's papaya and blue. And Nolan has papaya and blue this year, and then obviously Pato has papaya and black. But I think Scott Dixon's car is orange and blue.
Yeah.
So sometimes when Scott Dixon goes by on track, I'm like, oh wait, is that Nolan or is that Scott Dixon?
You're really relying on looking at the sponsorships on the side when those two drive by, because Scott Dixon has the big PNC Bank on the side, and Nolan has Arrow obviously written on the side of it. All the drivers made speeches. They were pretty excited about this weekend and everything.
Got to do a nice little cheers or toast to the 2025 season with Pato.
Pato did. I almost gave Pato my beer. For the
not
toast.
for him to drink.
No, not for him to drink. But Pato wanted to do a toast and said, I need a drink in my hand. And they eventually gave him a glass of water, which he did not enjoy.
No, he did not.
He wanted an actual drink. And I swear to God, Casey and I somehow lucked
ended up in the front.
Literally in the front row. I maybe 10 yards away from Pato O'Ward.
Yeah.
Who was the furthest from us.
Christian and Nolan were dead in front of us. And Pato came walking over, and I swear to God, if Pato looked maybe a foot more to his right, he would have seen me holding out my beer for him, being like, "Take it, you can have it." So we did do that, and then after the cars were revealed and everything, they had dinner upstairs in the restaurant. So we went up there. It was really nice. We were able to talk to some social media members of our McLaren and everything, which was great. Just even getting face-to-face time with the team is so cool, such a neat thing. And it was a really surreal moment because
there was a little trouble with my registration for this event, and we were emailing back and forth, and the social media manager for Aaron McLaren said, like, he's good, just, like, come to the event, you guys would be good to go. So I wanted to say thank you to her, just, like, in person and everything, and I walked up right away, and I was like, hey, I'm Owen. And she immediately recognized me and then recognized you and was like, oh my God, like, don't worry about it. Like, I'm so happy you guys could be here. Which was a surreal moment because it was like, holy crap, someone within like a team, a major team, knows who we are, you know, is familiar enough with us to be like, oh yeah, you're Owen, you're Casey, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Thursday night was a sick way to kick off the entire weekend.
It was it set the tone for the weekend, at least for me personally, because it was like, we're not, like, when we went to Miami, it was a surreal experience because we were there for the first time as fans.
Yes, we were there for the first time as fans. We wanted to be hardcore fans before that.
Be in the moment. Yeah. And now, going to this livery launch for the first time, you know, every time I took out my phone to record a video or take a picture, it was, I'm doing this for a purpose.
Yeah.
And it's not just for me to capture those moments. Like, I'm definitely going to keep those photos and videos as a memory, you know, but it was knowing, like, I'm doing this as a credentialed media person, and I'm here because we were invited, and it was such a cool experience, and, like, that it really set the tone for me in the weekend. It was like, really like, okay, I'm here to do it. I'm here to have fun and experience this, especially because it was my first IndyCar race. But it was also like, I'm here to do a job, and then to make sure I get cool things for everybody who listens and follows us and everything, you know.
And I think for me it was so cool because obviously last year when I came, we got to also do fun things with Aaron McLaren, but not to that. Nothing was that level. That I'll say it, not like that intimate within the team because there was only a few. It wasn't a huge open event to the public. Yes, the cars were outside the public, so anyone walking by the pier.
The pier was a public place, so anybody walking by could see the cars and everything, and the road cars that were out front. Anybody could go up and look at them, but you had to walk in, you know, through some ropes to get into the event. But
then once that we finally were able to come all the way back to our Airbnb, I think Owen and I literally put our head to our pillow and we're out.
The hardest I've ever fallen asleep.
And stayed asleep.
Yeah.
Then Friday, obviously IndyCar's schedule was a little different. Friday is media day and what's it called? FP1 or practice one. I think they just call it practice one. So we got over to the track, the circuit. We were able to go into the media center, and Aaron McLaren was doing another Women in Motorsport panel. We sat in there for a very, very little bit because then we booked it on over to the bullpen to do media bullpen with both Indy Next and IndyCar drivers, which was definitely the next, like, pinch me moment.
Yeah, that was a big moment too for, like you're saying, like, both of us, because again, it was this feeling of, like, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to capture these interviews and everything, and, you know, we planned for it and whatnot. We had some pints and pit stops ready to go for drivers, and we weren't guaranteed any of the drivers. You kind of had to make it happen on your own. But we also, you know, knew that we were going to get some guys. And it was awesome. We had talked to some people. We talked to Scotty Mack. We talked to Nolan Siegel. We
talked to who won the race for Indy Next night, Dennis Howard.
Yes, which was all great because it was like, we posted the Nolan Siegel interview. And, like, that was maybe, like, the third interview. That was the last interview I did, actually, was the Nolan one. And
Nolan, first of all, was a riot. He was so funny.
He was so fun.
He genuinely, I don't want to, like, toot our own horn, but he definitely enjoyed the questions that we were also asking.
So, like, the way it worked is, like, they were put in a bullpen, so, like, it was pretty much like a zoo. Like, they were put into, like, this secluded area, and they would walk around the reporters, and they would talk to people. Kind of like pretty much the F1 media bullpen as well, like post-race and everything.
You're not as digital media, which we were. Yeah. You're not guaranteed to get anyone. Obviously, the national media is Fox. People are going to get them. The main writers are going to get them. But yeah, it is definitely like a zoo.
Yeah, but so it's really up to you to try and get their attention. So, like, the way that I would do it, and is we were staying with a couple other, like, great content creators and everything and amazing people, and we all, like, had all of a sudden this, like, unwritten set of rules. Where it was, like, fan amp, we were standing next to them, they went first, and then it was, like, somebody else went, and then it was, like, after that, it was us, and it was, like, each one of us, like, stepped out of the way, we were making sure that we were paying attention, we were getting video of them, you know, talking to them and how, you know, so it was really cool, and that's a totally different aspect of the weekend that I want to touch base on, but
it was also cool hearing, obviously we did Pints and Pit Stops, so it was more lighthearted and fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun, it was cool hearing everyone's different questions for the drivers.
Yeah.
And how they would respond, but.
So yeah, I would always, like, so when it was our turn to go, I would always kind of, like, raise my hand sort of at the drivers, and then just be like, hey, can I grab you for, like, a quick trivia game?
Mm-hmm.
And Nolan was probably the best reaction to it.
Yeah.
Because all the drivers are super nice and they were great to talk to, but they're all just like, you know, they're in media mode. So it's, yeah, sure, yeah, you know. Nolan was one where he was like, yeah.
It was probably
like, absolutely.
It was honestly probably a relief for him to be able to be like, oh, play a game. I mean, he's so young. So.
Yeah. So, and if you guys have seen the video, we obviously did Cars trivia questions with him, which was a blast because I was really worried that none of them were going to be like familiar enough with the movie to know and to get right. And Nolan had some questions where he struggled, but he definitely knew it enough and was like, yes, I know what this is. Like, I know what you guys are talking about.
No, the best one was when it was with Dynaco, and you're like, what's the King sponsor? And he's like, I don't know. And then you start going down the question. He's like, boy, Dynaco.
Yeah, he was great. He was a blast to talk to. But that was, the whole media bullpen was such a surreal experience, and it was just literally like, you know, it's hard. You know, you watch these people on TV, and you watch drivers on TV, and you're like, oh, wow, you're so cool, you're an idol, and then it's like, you talk to these guys, and it's like, oh, you're a person, too, with a really cool job, and it's like, you're super friendly and super nice,
that's why I keep saying, like, Scotty Mac loves being a father.
Yeah.
If he can talk about being a father in any of his questions, he's going to talk about being a father. He's going to bring it up. They're just normal people with cool jobs.
Yeah. It was an awesome experience to be able to go and do that.
And I honestly think, which we'll get to what we did after this, but it was, I think, because then you led the interview we got to do after, so I think you warming up with Pints and Pit Stops was great, because then, once we were done with the media bullpen, we got the ability to interview two great drivers from HMD Motorsport, Nikita Johnson and Nolan Aller, both also hometown boys, which was very cool. I didn't realize that until later on. I was like, wait, we have to interview two hometown boys.
We did, the two Florida natives.
Not even the two Florida natives, the two Tampa St. Petersburg boys, which is very cool. So first we got to do Nolan Aller right after media bullpen. We ran over and we were by ourselves. We checked ourselves.
That one was a little hectic because at least like with the media bullpen, we had, like I said, the other content creators. We had Tasia standing there with us.
It's like a buffer.
Huge help. And it was like just like a nice like fallback where it was like, okay, at least this person's here. This was our first real full interview with the driver, you know, completely on our own. Yeah. But to me at least, we couldn't have asked for a better driver to do it with.
He was perfect. I agree. He was the perfect person to interview someone with a sit down interview with the driver for the first time. It also helped that he had similar interest into other sports with us as well, and kind of like a similar background with Owen and changing sports and going full time in something else.
He was extremely easy to relate to.
Yes, very.
And he gave great answers to our questions. You know, we didn't want to go in there and have the questions be like, what do you like about St. Pete? You know, just like generic questions that I'm sure they get asked all the time. Yeah. You know, so we were trying to make it a little bit more personal.
And at that point, we didn't see them on track yet.
No, we didn't see him on track at all. And Nolan was fantastic. He answered the questions great. He told a story with every question, too. It was like a great, engaging answer. And then even after that, too, we asked him, hey, do you want to play Pints and Pit Stops? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I'm all, like, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited for everyone We're gonna work on getting that up on our YouTube. I'm excited for everyone to see that interview because it
Yeah.
is really, really. He was really good. He was
Yeah.
cool to talk to. The sickest helmet
It's
again.
the best race suit, honestly. It's so cool.
It's there's no one's ever topping that. I'm sorry.
No.
Unless someone like F1 comes out with a NHL inspired. I don't want to give everything away, but if someone else comes out with an NHL inspired race suit or something, Nolan Aller at the
Yeah,
top.
he definitely is at the top of it, and it worked. It worked so well with the colors of his car too, because he had a blue, red, and like white car. So it flowed extremely well, and beautiful, and like instantly recognizable too.
Yeah,
like when we were walking the pit lane at one point, during Indy Next, like I noticed his helmet before I noticed his car, and I was like, oh, there's Nolan right there.
Yeah.
Like, because you could just instantly see it and be like, oh, that's him.
Yeah. He also related himself to our dad's favorite Detroit Red Wings player, so we were also like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was.
he was the. I don't think we could have asked for, like Owen said earlier, we could have asked for a more perfect driver to interview first.
Yeah, to like break that interview.
Yeah, break that
like
the
ice.
nerves,
Yeah,
the ice.
like.
But yeah, that was. We literally cranked out interviews for the first part of media day.
Yeah, and then following that,
It was practice one.
It was practice one. Yeah, which was nice because it was like, all right, we got what we needed to get done, in the morning and everything before practice one, and then we were able to watch it and able to kind of take it in as a
We were
fan.
able to take it in as a fan, yes, but also we got access to the pit lane.
Yeah.
Which I said last year, I think, when I talked about IndyCar weekend when I came, just the accessibility with IndyCar and stuff, and you can buy any Joe Schmo can go online and buy a pit lane pass for an IndyCar race, and it's just if you're going to an F1 race, you are never walking pit lane unless you are a reporter or someone who's at the Oscars now.
Yeah, like big Bugo Bucks
Yeah,
race.
you're not.
Like.
We'll definitely touch on the accessibility later on because I do think we need to.
Yeah, we definitely.
It's one of my favorite things about IndyCar in general. But yeah, we got to see both practices, which I was ready. I was excited for Owen to hear like IndyCar cars.
Hearing them, it invoked the same feeling that I got when we stepped off the bus in Miami with Florida or with F1, and it definitely was like oh holy crap.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually here. Like same thing when we talked about Miami. It was like the realization of hearing the cars, seeing them on the road is like, oh my god, I'm here. I'm actually doing this. This isn't a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, yeah, it was just that level of holy crap. I'm here watching IndyCar, watching FP1. Not only am I watching it, I'm watching it from the pit lane. We're 10 feet away from the cars coming in
watching
and then practicing
pit
stops
live in front of us.
And it's like, holy crap. And I mean, it was just like,
it's also just fascinating being able to be that close, especially during a practice because teams are doing so many things. But like watching them take like the hood off the front of the car or the back, like making changes.
Yeah.
The driver getting out, them watching the Firestone people going around and testing the tires. It's just you got to see all the ins and like what kind of goes into the team.
Yeah, and it was awesome to see. Like you said, we saw. I believe it was an Indy Next car. Was when we saw the hood pop off of the car, the front cover of the car, and they're like breaking down the whole car. Like they're in there with wrenches, they're popping springs out, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. The fact that I'm able to sit here and watch this all happen, and not feeling like I'm like doing something wrong. I'm in a place where I shouldn't be. Like it's just like, oh my god, like I'm actually like here doing it.
I mean, you can go all the way up and down the entire pit lane. So we went all the way down, saw the pit lane entrance. Which is, I mean, the pit lane is so cool.
The pit lane is awesome. It's so, their pit boxes are so different than F1's.
So tiny.
And they're so tiny, and everybody's standing, and it's all covered and everything. So it's like, it was just a unique experience. Like, I don't even know like how else to say it, but it's just like, again, like being able to walk all the way down to the pit lane entrance and seeing cars come around the final hairpin, come into the pit lane was like, wow, like I'm like, this is amazing, that was Friday was
like I said, media day, and then seeing cars on track for the first time. But still, getting to interview drivers, getting a driver to do a pints and pit stop was like I would want to say a bucket list thing, and the fact that we got
we got it, and like you said, like big name drivers, like
we got Scotty Mack to do a pints and pit stop.
We got the man who placed pole. Qualified for pole for today's race to do a pints and pit stops.
Yeah.
It was a surreal. I keep saying the word surreal, but like I don't know how else to explain it. Like
surreal.
It's an awesome, like holy shit, this is happening.
But it also we got to thank Scotty Mack for cheering on Bird on social media during the Super Bowl. Like you can connect with them so easily, one-on-one, very quickly. But yeah, it was. I mean, and even. No, we'll go on that later. I was going to say walking around the paddock, but we can talk about that.
But that was pretty much after practice one. That was pretty much it. For Friday. So we came back to the Airbnb. We chilled. Saturday we woke up. We were at the track early Saturday.
Very early. But it was worth it.
It was worth it. We had that. So that was practice 2 and qualifying day. And this was a day that we got to do something.
I never thought would have happened.
Cool. So we were invited to the livery launch for Aaron McLaren. We had the opportunity to sit in their hospitality suite, which if anybody watched the broadcast today for the race, it was on the back stretch along the marina. There's this big black building. That was their hospitality suite.
2 stories.
It was a 2-story building. Food, drinks, the works, Aaron McLaren memorabilia, stuff everywhere.
Visits from the driver.
We were sitting in there. We were eating lunch actually in there, and all of a sudden you hear one of the Aaron McLaren team members comes over the mic and she's like, "Hey, I'm just letting you guys know we're gonna have Pato here in a minute or 2." And then as she's making the announcement, he comes running up the steps. And so we heard from Pato speak a little bit.
We got to watch both qualifying sessions.
Yeah, we got to watch both qualifying sessions from there. And that was just a cool experience because it was it was this we were then able to have FaceTime with Aaron McLaren team members.
Yeah.
And it's because of Thursday night with the livery launch and then because of this as well, they were starting to recognize us and talk to us and everything. When we left that day, we were walking out with one of the team members and had a full-on conversation
about the race.
About the race. Tomorrow's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. The race is going to be so good. So it was just again that feeling of we're making these direct connections now that is awesome. And it's such a cool moment for us as fans, but also a cool moment for us as a podcast and everything, and as a media.
And I was excited to watch the race from that viewpoint because I didn't last year at all.
Yeah.
But that viewpoint is beautiful.
It was great.
I mean, they put in the little TikTok recap. You can close your eyes and pretend you're in Monaco.
Yeah,
for a few minutes.
You're staring right out to all the boats and the yachts that are out there, which apparently was also
Andretti's yacht was out there.
Birthday.
Yeah, he turned 85.
And they had a massive party on his massive yacht that was sitting out there, so it was crazy that we're sitting across.
But it's so St. Pete. That view is so much like Monaco because you literally had the yachts, but then you turn. It's not even a full 90 degrees, and you had the St. Pete skyline. So it was just
the views. Yeah. The views on this race are amazing. It's a very, very picturesque race.
Hey.
All right.
It's not an underground circuit episode, but there's not a technical difficulty.
In true underground circuit fashion, like Casey's saying, we had some technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. So as we were saying, the views in St. Pete are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like you said, the yachts in the forefront, and then the city skyline in the background, and everything. It's
blue sky, sun in the sky.
Yeah.
It's one of the most picturesque, I think, tracks. Well, I only been to 3.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
2, technically, because I went here last year.
You've been here last year, yeah.
Even just watching, we watched the last few laps on TV, and because sometimes street circuits look ugly because of the barriers.
Yeah, because they're built in a city.
But like
you know?
St. Pete, you have the trees hanging over the barriers, the
Yep.
palm trees, the marina in the background. But yeah, it's beautiful. So
It was great, and watching it just from our McLaren and everything just made the day so much better because it was just like,
did we we did not go into this weekend thinking we were watching anything in the hospitality suite.
No, I was thinking that we were gonna pull what we did in Miami, and watch from GA and find a good spot where we can and everything, and this was just like I said, the fact that we could, especially with how busy the weekend was, the fact that we could sit down
In
AC, watch the race in a good spot and everything was a privilege to be there. It was a privilege. We were honored to be there as well, and it was great. So we got to watch Indy Next and everything, and Indy qualifying. But we also on Saturday we had our second ever underground circuit interview. This time with Nikita Johnson from HMD Motorsports as well, same as Nolan Steen. He is a 16-year-old Indy Next driver. He was born in 2008, which made us feel really old.
From St. Petersburg, so it was the streets. I said it's literally giving Charles and Monaco.
Yeah.
It was the streets he grew up on.
Right. He has. I can never imagine. I have nothing that can come close.
No, I don't either.
To even relating to that.
No.
And it's like, so I cannot imagine what it was like to be making your Indy Next debut as well. It was his first Indy Next race on the streets of your hometown that you have literally I'm sure he's walked on that pier as a family day.
Yeah.
It is an insane thing to even try and think about. But he was amazing. He was when we found out his age, I was I was like, is he gonna be nervous or whatever? Yeah.
Amazing.
And
an amazing interview. We ad-lib questions. It was like a conversation with him, and it was really cool.
It was a really smooth conversation. He had great answers.
Yeah.
He wasn't the one I'm just going to give you the answer and that's it.
That's it.
He would elaborate. He kind of the same thing with Nolan, would tell stories, and talk about it and everything. And he was awesome. We also did do a pints and pit stops with him.
We did two technically with him.
We did do two technically. So we started with the St. Petersburg themed one, which I did. It was all IndyCar trivia questions. So it was, who holds the fastest lap record, who's the most winningest driver, stuff like that. But after that, Casey very smartly asked, "Are you familiar with the movie Cars?"
He was said, "Yeah."
Yeah, and we were like, "Awesome." Which what's disgusting?
He wasn't even born when the movie came out.
That movie came out in 2006.
I know. He wasn't even born.
Wasn't even alive when that movie came out, which is gross.
No.
But regardless, he's familiar with the movie, so we started asking him Cars questions, which he did great with. It was again.
He even gave us bonus because our end question was, what F1 legend makes a cameo at the end of the first of Cars? And he's like, Michael Schumacher.
I wasn't even done asking the question, and he was telling me the answer. I think I said, what F1 legend makes A? And then he goes, Michael Schumacher.
And then he goes, and then it was Sebastian Vettel, another one, and Lewis Hamilton, another. And I was like, okay.
He starts ripping through facts from all the next movies, and I'm like, holy shit!
He might be able to go up against Dad.
He might be able to, yeah. But he was great. Again, the same thing, us being able to communicate with HMD Motorsports, which, again, huge thank you to HMD Motorsports for letting us interview with them.
Allie specifically,
Getting to, walk in there, and even just walking in their truck that they have there. You see the drivers live in them, that's where they get dressed and whatnot. Even just, walking into one of those when we're, going to interview a driver was holy shit, and I kept making a joke all the weekend, but I felt it at the most in this moment. I kept saying having the media pass in front of other people was sending me on a power trip. There was one moment where I believe it was after one of the practice sessions for IndyCar, and they roll off the car and literally roll it right past where people walk in, and they rope it off and people watch and everything. And they roll them past, and then they roll into their garages, and we're walking in this rope off section as
Yeah, we could.
The cars are rolling through, and I'm like, I'm having a power trip right now. But like, there was a moment when we were going to interview Nikita that we were standing there outside of their garage, and there was some people staring at all their cars, the car parts that were out there and everything.
And that's when they came
and
got
they
us.
came out, and Allie, the social media, the girl that we were communicating with, before the interview, came out and was like, hey guys, like we had a discussion with her. She pulled up the road. We walked into the garage, and I was like, wow, the people next to us were probably like, what the hell? Like,
what are those two normal ass kids?
Yeah, what are these two kids doing, and why are they walking into this garage? So yeah, I was definitely on a power trip, but
we also on Saturday got the tour from Firestone.
Oh yes, we had. So Tasia put on.
Yeah.
Tasia organized this event, right?
Yeah, with Kara and Pat.
Pat at Firestone. Firestone is obviously the tire provider for IndyCar and everything, and all the subsequent series. But we had like a 20-minute informational session.
Yeah.
Speak by Kara, talking about the
make of the tires,
all about them and everything, which was a great experience to be in, because it was like we could only learn, sure we can read this somewhere, but having someone from Firestone speak it to you and everything made it so much more engaging. So cool. I asked about the sensors and everything in the cars, because I've always been fascinated with that. What are these sensors sending back to telemetry? So I was thrilled to learn about that, and that was really cool. I really appreciated that we got the fact to go to that. I'm really appreciative that Tasia organized it and got it scheduled and everything. So that was a really cool moment
also,
as well.
Tires aren't as heavy as you think.
No, super light.
I mean, the wheel wasn't in there. It was literally the tread.
Just the tread, yeah.
But I mean, we picked up the one for a wet track, and with
you could literally just go
I
like
forget
that.
who it was like lifted up and was like, wait, this is so light.
It's so light.
Yeah, my mind was blown. But yeah, that was a cool highlight of the day.
Yeah.
We did that before I went to hospitality, but
yeah. And then we got to watch. We watched Indy Quali, like we said, from hospitality, which was great, and just again so cool to be sitting in there, and so cool just to be in that spot for.
And it's cool because they have the screen up with they obviously have the broadcast on, then they have a separate leaderboard where then you can see who's in the pit or whatever, and then there's another screen that's an onboard for one of the drivers. They had it for Christian. Yeah.
And that was cool. And then they were coming over the mic during Indy qualifying. Yeah. They're talking to us and everything. And there was a McLaren side and there was an Arrow side. So they were just making announcements, and they were explaining things. If
you were new,
right? If you were a new fan, or you just you were part of Arrow and you weren't really a racing fan, just talking to you about it, and it was a really, really cool, really cool experience. But that kind of summarizes Saturday.
And we get the race day.
And then we get the rain day, race day. So we got to today. Race was at 12. Mm-hmm. Indy next had a race at 10.
And Nikita was one of the biggest movers. I think you went up 6 spots. The first one went up 9.
Which, I didn't say this in the moment, but watching those races and watching Indy next and knowing that we've talked to Nikita, we've talked to Nolan, immediately made it so much more fun to watch.
You're yes, we know.
I know the person. I'm yes, we've had one 15-minute conversation, and it may have just been homework to you. You may have just felt like it was a duty that you had to do as a driver, but then it was I'm rooting for you. I'm watching Nolan and being go. Overtake him.
Nolan crashed out too. I was I was so upset. I felt so bad for him because it was also his hometown race.
Yeah, and we both of us, because the view that we had was around the bend that we couldn't see the back half of it. So we saw Nolan come around, and then the next lap wasn't there, and we were literally where is Nolan?
Yeah, that was on the screen.
We'd happen to look over then and be damn it, because then they're showing the video of him in the wall and everything, but it was it made it so much more personal to watch that race, to be I've met you, I've spoken to you, you're a great person, I want you to succeed.
Yeah, we wanted to. It was easy to root for them. If you've been listening to the show, I've only been saying since last year that I wanted Owen to experience an IndyCar start, and he finally got to experience an IndyCar start.
Which that was a.
I will get the chills.
I did get the chills. It was nice because like I turned around to you right before the race started, and
You were like, "Are you gonna record or am I
are
gonna
you
do
taking a video for this?" And you were like, "Yes, I'll
You're
take a
good.
video so that way you can just experience it and enjoy it and everything." And it's such a cool thing to see them go because they do 2 formation laps, so they're all in the pits. They do this whole startup ceremony.
Also, when they say,
"Start your
"Gentlemen,
engine,"
start your engines,"
yeah, and you hear all the cars turn on, and then they leave the pits. They do 2 formation laps, and as they're coming up to the start line of the last formation lap, they all line up like they're in a starting grid, and they're all in the correct order. They're all in the right spots.
Yep.
And then they just like the safety car ducks in to the pits, and they're fucking on the gas.
Yeah, because it's a rolling start, so they're not even like. You obviously see the guy, like the flag waver, like waving the green flag.
Yeah.
But they start revving up.
For a while.
Yeah,
like,
right in the back for us.
They're ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
And it's so cool just seeing 20 of those cars.
And
like, not even 20, like almost 30 of those cars just fly past you, all in that big group and everything.
And it's a short into turn 1.
Yeah, it's a tight turn.
Everyone made it through turn 1 clean, but then Will Power, Nolan Siegel, and I think it was Abel. I'm blanking on his first name.
Foster.
Sorry, Foster. They got into an incident, and now we were under caution for a few laps.
Yeah.
And the race from the end of the caution to the end was green the entire time.
Yeah, it was green the whole time. It did get a little boring in the moment.
Yeah.
Tire deg
was huge.
Was a huge factor in this race, so it was like. I still don't fully understand IndyCar tires, but I know they have a primary, they have an alternate. I don't know what's softer, what's harder, whatever it is. But one of the tires was like...
And they have to do both.
They have to do both. It's like F1, they have to do both. One of the tires was falling apart.
They wanted
within like 2 laps.
I remember it was near the end. Christian Lugar was still in the lead.
Yeah.
And I know Ellie, who was at home, was like, him and Rossi have not pitted yet, and they need to. But they wanted those tires to last like 20 laps, specifically for Christian. But they weren't. There was like 12 laps for every other driver.
It wasn't even 20. They wanted him. They pitted him at lap 70.
Yeah, and they wanted him to go to the
100
end.
laps, and they wanted him to last for 30 laps on his tires. When the most anybody had lasted throughout the race was like 15 laps.
They were literally. Christian ended up hitting again. Yeah. From the last time, from lap 77 to the end.
Yeah.
And being twice. I mean, yeah, it was like they get a little boring. We were right. We started the race over at the pit lane entrance on this platform area, and then we moved to turn 1, which was a great view.
Great spot. We were able to see the cars clearly come out of turn 1.
Out of the pit lane. They were maybe. I know I've said this before, but maybe 10 feet away from us. Not they were close.
Very close. You could see the action, and then we had a screen right near us too.
Yeah.
And it was great because it was once they all passed us, we were kind of just able to look over and look at all the screen and look at the screen and watch the rest of the race. And I mean, I said this during the race. I think I like the design.
Yeah.
The form factor of Indy cars better than I do F1 cars. I don't know what it is. Seeing them from their side profile as they were coming into turn 1, I was like, all of these cars look fucking awesome.
And they look so cool.
Right, and Christian Lungar's car, the colors are just hitting just right, and it's that looks so good. So I really enjoyed it. It was a great race all the way down to the end.
All the way down to the end.
We had it was 100 laps total. From lap 80 to 100, it became a Joseph Newgarden chasing down
Alex
Palou. Alex was in first, and Joseph was in second. Scott Dixon was in third, and it was a battle.
Yeah, and Stingray Rob was in front of Alex Palou, Stingray Rob was going to get lapped, and he wasn't getting out of the way for Alex Palou, which I do like in IndyCar. They don't just
they don't have to get out of the way. Lap cars don't have to get out of the way.
So Alex Palou was in dirty air. Joseph Newgarden cut down a 4-second lead, I think, in 3 laps.
Yeah, it disintegrated the 4-second lead for Alex. and they're battling, and Alex was able to outlast him and
we got ahead
win
of
the race.
He got ahead of Stingray Rob.
Yeah, he finally gets ahead of Stingray Rob.
So does Joseph.
He positions Stingray Rob between himself and Joseph
For like 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Stingray Rob, but then at that moment decides to move out of the way.
When we came back and watched the last few laps, did you hear them on TV? And
No, see, I was going to ask about this.
They said it was the Chevy versus Honda thing because I forget who. They were different manufacturers, but Stingray Rob was the same as Newgarden.
Oh.
So it's like
it
an
was
unspoken
team
thing
yeah.
within engine manufacturers compared to the Honda engines.
Yeah.
Like I think Pilot and McLaren are, because I think she said yesterday with the Honda engines they saw good things out of the Honda engines.
Right.
But yeah, it was like an unspoken rule between the Chevys. That's why because it did look like you were just holding Pilot for so long.
It was weird seeing it happen live because it was like.
Oh, he just gave up. Like he was
for
like,
like
oh, here you go.
7 laps, it was Alex trying to get around Stingray Rob.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment it happens, it's like, well, Stingray just moved out of the way for Joseph Newgarden. And I was like, there's part of me that was like, all right, that's a little bit of a dick move. But then I'm like, but it's also like it makes for great racing. So it's like, all right, cool.
It's like F1 terms. If like Max was, say, Yuki was in front of like Lando.
Yeah.
And Lando was in first. Lando finally gets around Yuki, and then Yuki sees that Red Bull Max
behind
him.
Right behind
he's
him.
like, okay, here you go.
Here you go.
Like that's basically how I can explain it. But yeah, there was that race, but then also at the same time it was Pilot and Newgarden. It was also Newgarden and Scott Dixon.
Yeah, Dixon this whole time
is laying low.
He's like creeping up on him. You can like hear the Jaws music coming and getting louder, and then.
Last lap.
Like
the last turn.
Literally the last straight.
Yeah.
Makes this amazing overtake on Joseph Newgarden, which Newgarden clipped the wall at one point in his chase of Alex.
Barely finished with enough fuel.
Right, and apparently crossed the finish line with no gas.
Yeah.
So it was like maybe those factors were playing into it and everything, but like Scott Dixon overtakes Joseph Newgarden. It finishes Alex Pilot, Scott Dixon, Joseph Newgarden in a great race, a great season opener.
Yeah, I mean, you have the 3-time champ winning the first race of the season.
Yeah.
You had Newgarden, obviously, who had all that trouble. Well, Penske got in trouble for cheating after heat last year. And then I always compare him. Scott Dixon is like the Fernando Alonso of IndyCar. He just reminds me of him like that.
Everybody likes him.
One. Yeah, everyone likes him. He's a good dude, a great racer. I mean, Scott Dixon is still in the prime of his career, I think. He does not hold back.
He is a very good racer.
Yeah, very good. But others definitely had issues. Poor Colton Herta.
Man, got screwed by a strategist.
They messed him up at the very, very beginning. Because when there was the caution at the beginning, most of the cars stopped or went through the pit lane.
Right.
I remember hearing over like the radio at the track saying they were like, oh, they just screwed it up for Colton. But then when we were like sitting back here watching the last few laps, and it said Colton had 2 bad pit stops.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, Colton literally said this one stinks because his strategist, I think,
he got
messed
screwed
it
over.
up for him big time.
Which sucks to see because it's like Colton Herta is such a cool, like young talent in IndyCar and everything, and it's like sucks to see like when that happens to him, but it made for an interesting race, like we said. You know, there was multiple times, you know, we watched like Christian's pit stops. You know, the fact that they sent him out for 30 laps remaining on those tires, and then like he had to pit again. Like you knew that when he pitted for the first time, it was like, dude, you're gonna be coming into
you're gonna be coming.
Like you're coming back.
Yeah.
So it was like for a season opener.
It was a good race.
It was a great race. I'm sure Fox is thrilled that one of their commercial boys
won
the race.
And the other one was on the podium.
The other one was in the podium.
Yeah. I mean, Pato was the biggest mover. So
Pato was the biggest mover. He went from 23rd to 11th.
I thought 9th.
Or maybe 9th.
Because Pato did not have a good qualifying.
Yeah, did not have a good qualifying for Pato.
But came up.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of, I feel like it's going to be the same as what I said after Miami, but like, loved it. Would absolutely go back.
Seeing race action in person is just so cool.
So cool. even the smaller series, watching the in-between races between them, like what you would call like the main events.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just an awesome thing to see and be a part of and to learn the stories
To
about.
hear, to legit smell, like
Yeah,
to take in. It's. I mean, the crowd was cool. Yeah, it was definitely, I think, bigger than last year.
It was packed.
It was packed.
It was packed.
But one of the coolest things about IndyCar, obviously, like F1, if you relate to F1, their podiums are always a little raised. So
Yeah.
everyone's below, and normally it's all the team members. What's so cool about IndyCar is when they, like Alex Palou crosses the finish line, comes back through the pit lane, literally leaves the pit lane, drives over to the
Drives
podium.
through the crowd.
Parks in front of the podium, gets out with his helmet. So, like, when we see them get out, basically when F1 cars pull in the Parc Ferme is where Alex Palou,
we saw him get out.
and it's just, and then you're literally like 3 people away from the team celebrating, everyone celebrating, get the pop, the champagne. Yeah, it's just being able to be that close to the podium is cool.
It's unique, and that's IndyCar has that going for them right now, where it's like, because it's a little bit smaller, it's so much more intimate.
Yeah.
It's like comparing it to like a concert, like watching a band grow. It's like
Exactly.
if you're a fan from the beginning, you're going to those small shows where it's like, sure, it's not a sold out theater, you know, they're selling out Madison Square Garden, but you're going to a show where it's like, regardless of what seat I get, I have a good view, and it feels so much more intimate and personal and everything.
Yeah.
Whereas with F1, it's like, now I'm watching this band play, you know, Madison Square Garden, and the only ticket I can afford is
The nosebleeds.
my back against the wall nosebleeds. So it's like, it has that really going for it, and they excel at it right now. Like, they are really good with making you feel like you're getting a behind-the-scenes look.
That's the perfect way to say it. You are getting a full behind-the-scenes
Like,
look at the teams, because if you have a paddock pass, you can walk through and see the teams working on the cars.
Right, and even like you said, on Friday, it's open to
The
anybody.
public.
It's open to the public. You don't need a paddock pass to walk through the paddock on a Friday. So it's like, you kind of what you said. If you have Joe Schmo and you have general admission tickets,
You can go on Friday and walk.
on Friday, you're walking and the car's right here. You can go in and put your hand on a wheel and put your hand on a tire
You
and
can
be
be walking
like,
around
"Whoa,
the
this
drivers.
is like."
The drivers start zipping by on their scooters.
Right. You know, we were standing there, and all of a sudden, I was like, "Case, that's Will Buxton."
Yeah.
Like, that's Will Buxton, literally just like driving by on a scooter.
That's such a perfect way to say the behind the scenes. You get behind the scenes of the teams, you get behind the scenes of the drivers, behind the scenes of the TV, and the media side of almost every team, like individual driver as well. That's a great way to explain it, but
it gives it this unique, and again, I'm going to use the word again because I feel like it's the best word to describe it, intimate feeling that you are a part of the race weekend and everything. And it's like, like this is like, it's great. Like you said, like I remember when you went last year, you came home and you told us all, you know, like the accessibility of it is amazing, and everybody can get
it. There's nothing like it.
And I didn't fully understand it until now. You know, it was like, I get it now. So great weekend. The other amazing, awesome part of this weekend that we got to do was meet other content creators in the motorsport content creation field. And I want to bring this up. I never realized like how small it was, and it was awesome to see you like walk up and like hug all these girls and everything, and know them first name basis and talk to them and everything. And I was like, oh, this is great. And, you know, like even when we went out to dinner the other night, and it was like me and like 5 other girls. Like, I was having a blast. I was like, this is awesome. Like the fact that we're all sitting here, we can all talk. We all want each other to succeed and have fun and be in this field is like, this is great.
Everyone had, I felt with the group that we kind of had, everyone had each other's back.
Yes.
In a perfect way.
Right. And this is what we were talking about with when we were in the media bullpen. It was that unwritten rule of like, I'm going to get my stuff, but I'm also going to make sure and help that you get your stuff.
If I can keep the driver here for 2 seconds, I'm going to make sure that they will stay here to also talk to you. I mean, it's also, I know we talked about it with the Firestone thing as well, because like there's so many women within Firestone. There's so many women within the teams on engineering side, mechanic side, media side, but then like like you said, you were maybe the only boy content creator there.
Which is a weird
for race cars
flip on its head.
Yeah.
But I honestly was like honored to be a part of it. Like I was like, this is so unique that like I'm sitting here and like all of you guys are like talking everything, and it's like, like this is great. Like and it's like everybody's killing it. Everybody's making this awesome content, and everybody is like talking to each other and having fun. And again, like sure, like I'm gonna get my stuff, but then I'm gonna make sure that you get yours.
Yeah.
You know,
everyone's
you get your
to
content.
Succeed.
Yeah.
I have a question for you because I said it last week. I need to ask. I have made the bet saying I think you're gonna like it more than F1. Now I don't know if you're gonna like it more than F1, but I think there's definitely aspects. Take it from the fan point. Take the media part out of it.
If I had to, okay.
Put him on the spot. I didn't tell him I was gonna ask him.
No, she did not tell me this, but it's good. God damn.
You can say you like both.
I do like both. I think because F1 was what got me into motorsport and worked as that like gateway drug, where it's now I'm even like, I kind of want to watch NASCAR. I kind of want to watch MotoGP.
It's like F1 was like the first love. Now you're finding the ones that you like, oh yeah, this is sick.
Right, like, this is fucking awesome. Like, so it's like, I think that gives it a leg up on IndyCar, but if I'm like, I think if I'm going strictly from like a fan sense, like I'm trying to compare our experiences as unbiased as I can between Miami and this, I think I still have to go with F1 because of the
first of the
how large it is and everything, and it's like, holy crap, I'm here with like all of these guys that like globetrot and like do all these things. And sure, like I love IndyCar, like I just said, because it's intimate, because it's accessible and everything. But it's like, you know, F1 was my first like real like motorsport love. I idolize Lewis Hamilton. I idolize, you know, Charles. I idolize Max. Like all these people that it's like being even in the same area as them. I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is so cool. And F1 is like, to me at least, it's like the pinnacle of motorsport. And it's just like, I'm here, I'm watching it. Like, it's so cool. So I do have to say F1.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I figured, but I need to follow up.
But again, IndyCar, so much fun. So, again, intimate, accessible. You feel like you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Whereas F1 is definitely, I'm here as a fan. IndyCar is,
I'm in it as a fan.
Like, I'm in it. You know, like, even when it's just walking by the cars. Like,
because you're there.
Right. I'm walking by the cars, and they're right here.
The closest in Miami, us walking by the cars, was walking along the track as they're on track.
Right. Or, like, the display car that, like, V-Carb has up and everything. And it's like, sure, you're right next to a car in that moment, but it's like, but it's a display car. Like, this is, like, the actual car that Pato O'Ward is sitting in and driving in 2 hours, you know, I'm standing next to, and I'm able to, like, put my hand on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's something about that. It's just like, damn, that's awesome.
Do you have a favorite part of the entire weekend?
You know what? As weird as this sounds, I think my favorite part of the weekend was meeting other content creators.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think it's because I knew that all these other people existed. You know, I knew what they were doing and everything. But just learning about that, learning each other's stories and everything, and getting to meet them and feel like part of this actual community. Like it's an actual community that we are in, we are a part of. It was really cool to me. I really, really enjoyed that.
That's good. That's a good part.
Do you have a favorite part of the weekend?
Yeah, I think I do. Let me think. Kind of took mine, I think.
We can have the same favorite part.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with, obviously, I'm going to cry yesterday at dinner, but obviously, I've been friends with Tasia for over a year now, but we first met at St. Pete last year.
Right.
But last year, when I came to St. Pete, I said to someone else, or maybe you, I was like, yeah, was I maybe riding Tasia's co-Tesla, because like
Right.
she organized stuff with our McLaren for us, like all us like dinners and things. But just being able to also connect, like, I mean, I've maybe not more so you, like I've seen their content a lot, like a few, like all over the place. I've interacted with it. So just being able to sit down and meet them, get to know them. Like I know now if we go to another race, it's not going to be like, who are you? It's like, oh my God, Casey Owen, like, hey, how are you? Like, we can keep in touch. It's just we said it before. There is a good support system. Yeah. Making those connections. Just making even those connections with like the HMD, like Allie at HMD Motorsport, like just having those connections with people within the motorsport world. I think we wanted to go into this weekend with some kind of a takeaway, and we made connections. We made friendships. We made connections. We have grown as motorsport fans now. You know, with that and everything. March 1st was yesterday. I think last year our episode on March 1st was our first 1 year episode. Yeah. So like we've been at this for now 2 years, and being able to, got to go as media, got to interview drivers, got to take things from our podcast that people say, listen, no pints and pit stops. Yeah. Got to actually ask drivers and that stuff. But yeah, it was the coolest weekend, a fulfilling weekend. It's a great weekend. A tiring. Oh yeah. And fulfilling weekend. Yeah, our flight is early tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna crash tonight. Yeah. But it definitely a very fulfilling. I think it's a great way to put it. Fulfilling weekend, just from a motorsport fan perspective, from a content creation perspective, from a just going out and trying new things. Mm-hmm. You know, like our motto this weekend was just like, just ask. Just ask. You know, like if we had a question, if we were like, should we do this? Should we not do this? We were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's find it. What's the worst case? No. Right. Like, and it because we did ask, it opened up doors that probably even last year we wouldn't have asked, and it then therefore the doors wouldn't have opened and everything. So it was like just doing that. It was a very fulfilling and very good weekend. Yeah, no, I agree. I can't wait to do more. Same. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited, kind of switching gears here, for next weekend. We have our first F1 race of 2025. I know, having like a legit like IndyCar race being back, I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. The race season is here. It's motorsport season. Motorsport. Like, motorsport is here. It is going to be so much fun. I feel like it feels like an appropriate time to do this. We have hopefully some like really cool stuff coming for you guys this season. Lots of content from this weekend that we haven't even posted yet. Tons. Yeah. Like we've barely shown anything. We've shown like 5% of a day. Yeah. Even the daily recaps. Yeah. That like we. It's like one thing we did today. So it was like, we have tons of stuff coming out of this weekend for you guys. Tons of ideas too, and it was a blast. Yeah, it was a blast. But yeah, we will be. I didn't mean to say it. Do you have anything? No, I'm good. Yeah. So like I said, race weekend is next week. We'll be back next week with Australia predictions, like we said earlier, and 2025 season predictions. Maybe a little more IndyCar recaps. I'm sure there's things we forgot we were to bring it up. We'll want to talk about. Maybe we'll show one of our interviews within an episode just to have it something else. And then the week after that is our 100th episode. So Australia recap is 100th episode. So we have some fun things. But yeah, hopefully. But I have a feeling this weekend was the start of a cool year. I think a cool motorsport season for motorsport and also this weekend. Hopefully, open doors. It feels like the start of. It's one of those weekends that it's like you look back on it and it's like that right there. That's what's like a crux point. Yeah. Like in our history as a podcast. Like, so I'm very excited. But yeah, we will be back next week. Australia preview. We'll do a season F1 season predictions, and we will go from there. And then we'll be up at I don't even know 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I think it was 1, 2. Yeah. China or Japan's 3 a.m. They're not. It's not that. Yeah, but we will see you then. See ya. If you guys liked this in-person episode and you made it all the way through it,
please let us know in the comments or reviews on our
this
podcast.
season we were gonna hopefully do more like this.
We would like to do more like this, but please let us know.
I just realized I haven't had any of the socials at the bottom of the entire time, but
It's
please
fine.
go comment,
It's fine.
go give us a follow on socials. If you have been interacting with our stuff this past weekend, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Again, this weekend we would not have been able to do anything without the followers and support that we have had.
All of the people who have followed us, listened to us, interacted with us, this is all possible because of you guys, and because the fact that we have this community now and everything. So yes, a huge thank you to you guys. We are hoping to grow even more.
Yeah.
Be able to do more cool stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But that's all we have for today.
Thank you. We are
bed.
gonna go pack and go to bed.
Should have probably gotten some aloe because we are definitely sunburned.
Yeah, I am a burnt boy.
Yeah, this lighting is doing you a favor because you can't see
You
over the
can't
summer.
right now, but I am burnt.
That one might be the color of my hair.
Yeah. So.
But yeah.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. I gotta get close.
Well, hopefully Kyle can